let us not forget that one of the most famous dissidents in Iran was Ayatollah Montazeri. Ayatollah Montazeri was supposed to be the successor of Ayatollah Khomeini. He was one of the most senior Shia clerics in Iran. But when he became critical of human rights abuses, when he became critical of the mass executions in Iran, he was then put under house arrest and persecuted.
لما جاء خاتمي والحكم الإصلاحي التي صار نوع من الانفتاح أو شبه الانفتاح في إيران، وهذا استغله شعبنا من أجل يعني تنفس الصعداء نوعا ما، ويعني بدأت تنشر الصحف باللغة العربية أو اللغة العربية والفارسية، والاجتماعات والأمسيات الأدبية، وحتى حزب سياسي تشكل باسم حزب الوفاق، وصار نوع من الحراك يعني حوالي 25 أو 26 مركز أو مؤسسة ثقافية تأسست بمدينة الأهواز العاصمة.
When President Khatami was in charge, for the first time in the history of Iran, I would like to say the modern history of Iran, elections were held, local elections were held in the provinces, whereby local officials were for the first time elected as opposed to being appointed from Tehran. This was a very, very big step. And although the previous constitution of Iran, the one that was drafted in 1905, had made provisions for such elections, from 1905 to, I think, the late 1990s, just before the turn of the millennium, no such elections were held. So that was a positive development. And under President Khatami, for example, there was a sensitivity in order to make sure that the ethnic regions were represented by people from that same region. For example, the governor of Kurdistan was a Kurd, and somebody, for example, from Azerbaijan was not sent as governor to Baluchistan, or somebody from Tehran being sent as governor to some remote areas where he had no understanding. There were sensitivities of that nature.
هذا الحراك يعني استمر حتى مجيء أحمدي نژاد في 2005. حل حزب الوفاق في 2006 بحكم من محكمة الثورة، أو ما يسمى بمحكمة الثورة، وهو حزب إصلاحي في الواقع، لأنه كانت له علاقات وطيدة مع الإصلاحيين في طهران.
The reality is that, for example, when Khatami came to power in the late 90s, in 1997, the hardliners and the ideologues were in a much stronger position. The country was not in the kind of economic trouble that it is in today. So the leadership, led by the supreme leader at that time, had many options apart from the kind of options that were offered by Khatami. And they chose those options. They never fully supported Khatami, and they undermined him until Ahmadinejad came to power and created the kind of chaos which has removed all those options.
2009, the impossible happened. Millions of Iranians, not just in Tehran, but in Tabriz, in Esfahan, in Shiraz, throughout the country, came out in an unprecedented demonstration of people power, and it was overwhelmingly peaceful. That was Iran's Gandhian moment. And the Iranian people showed that they want change, but that they don't want any more violence.
In Tehran, we witnessed, especially in 2009, after the presidential election, the so-called Green Movement. The Green Movement's leaders didn't mention the ethnic issues, in spite of their campaigning in peripheries and their promises, some promises to do something. In spite of their leadership, they are not Persians by origin. Okay, Musavi Tabrizi is from Tabriz, and Karoubi is from Luristan. Okay, two main leaders.
En Iran, il n'y a pas de l'opposition, il n'y a pas d'opposition. Parce que, vous voyez, vous entendez de la part de vos collègues en Iran, à l'extérieur, des réformateurs, des conservateurs, des je ne sais pas quoi, ils sont tous des partisans du régime. Ils sont tous des partisans de Walayat al-Faqih. Ce n'est pas une opposition. Même celui qui était parmi ces partisans, qui avait un peu un discours différent lors des élections en 2008, en Iran, comme Musavi et Karoubi, maintenant, depuis 4 ans, ils sont détenus chez eux sans qu'il y ait la moindre décision judiciaire ou un jugement de la part d'une juridiction iranienne. C'est ça.
الله اکبر. نیروی انتظامی تشکر، قوه قضایی تشکر، همانا کیفرانان که با خدا و رسول به جنگ برخیزند و در زمین فساد کنند، جز این نباشد که آنها را به قتل رسانده یا به دار کشند و یا دست پایشان به خلاف ببرند و یا با نفی و تبعید از سرزمین صالحان دور کنند. این ذلت و خواری.
Durant ces 2 ans de Rouhani, il y a 10-15% d'augmentation de nombre d'exécutions. Par exemple, à l'époque de Ahmadinejad, il y avait environ 600-650 exécutions par année. Maintenant, on a environ 800-850 exécutions par année. Et donc, mais il faut comprendre vraiment qu'en Iran, on a 2 systèmes, on a 2 pouvoirs. D'un côté, on a un État qui est composé d'un président, d'un parlement, d'une armée. Ça, c'est pour la consommation publique interne et internationale. De l'autre côté, parallèlement à la présidence, on a le Beit Rahbari, on a le guide suprême iranien Ali Khamenei, qui est responsable de toutes les forces armées iraniennes, qui a le droit de veto sur toutes les décisions du Parlement iranien, de la présidence iranienne. Je vous donne un exemple. Durant Khatami, la période de Mohammad Khatami, il a présenté 57 projets de réforme au Parlement iranien, que le Parlement, le Majlis a accepté, mais les 57 étaient refusés par le guide suprême Ali Khamenei. Et donc, parallèlement au Parlement iranien, on a la plusieurs conseils. Le conseil des intérêts du régime, le conseil des gardiens, le conseil...
سواء في زمن الشاه كان قوي جدا. الجمهورية الإسلامية ورث على هذا المنظمة. بعدين شو عمل؟ اشتغل مع كاجيبي، اشتغل مع الشين، اشتغل مع كوبا فيدل كاسترو، اشتغل مع حافظ أسد، استخبارات الكورة. يعني هدول بعدين بعثوا من أفرادهم من أشخاص تبع فافاك إلى كل البلاد الأخرى الشيوعية وماركسيستية ليتعلموا هناك. فلذلك أخذوا تجربة دولية من كل استخبارات العالم.
À l'armée iranienne aussi, il y a la force de Spah Pazaran, les gardiens de la révolution. Et donc, ces gardiens de la révolution, ils contrôlent 70-80% aussi des entreprises iraniennes, du pétrole iranien, de l'économie iranienne. Et en même temps, c'est une branche qui est la force de Quds, qui joue un peu le rôle de la ministère des Affaires étrangères dans le monde, en fait. Et souvent, on parle de Qasem Soleimani qui agit comme le ministre de Défense iranien aussi, mais aussi le ministre des Affaires étrangères iranien. Et certains pays de la région, comme l'Irak, certains responsables irakiens, ils ne parlent pas avec le ministre des Affaires étrangères iranien, comme Jawad Zarif, mais ils parlent directement avec M. Qasem Soleimani, qui a tout le pouvoir donné par le guide suprême iranien, Ali Khamenei.
Shias constitute something like maybe 10-15%, I don't know, of all Muslims in the world. But from the borders of Iran and Pakistan and Afghanistan all the way to the Mediterranean, well, Lebanon, that area including the Persian Gulf region, if you consider that, the population of the Shias is something around 40%. It's not 10% or 15%. So they're a large community. Now, it has been the historical legacy of Iranian governments to support Shiite communities everywhere in the world. That is what Persian kings always referred to themselves in the past, and this legacy has remained even in stronger terms for the present government, which is an Islamic government. But playing or being influential in the region in the name of supporting Shias does not mean giving them missiles and rockets and things like that to become aggressive, but to helping them with schools, with hospitals, with education.
I think it's difficult to understand how the foreign policy, the neighborhood policy of the Islamic Republic has developed if you don't think or you don't relate it back to the Iran-Iraq war, which was a major tragedy, a devastating impact, both on Iran but also on Iraq, of course. Now, much of the policies that have developed from the Islamic Republic since the Iran-Iraq war are in a way an attempt to make sure that this kind of catastrophe cannot happen again. And that means thinking about its influence in the region, about building alliances with different communities, and also about trying to consolidate its influence, not just in Iran, but in the region as a whole.
And, for example, they have had to sort of be allied to people with whom they have absolutely nothing in common. There have been reports of, for example, Iran supporting or arming Taliban elements in Afghanistan or radical Sunnis in other parts of the Middle East, that has been part of their overall strategy of opposing the status quo.
Nobody wants to prefer war or conflict or sanctions that hurt ordinary Iranians over diplomacy, over a deal on the nuclear issue. But the question is, if the sanctions are lifted, will this resumption of oil wealth and the flow of money into Iran be used to benefit the people of Iran? Or will all that money end up in the hands of Hezbollah and Hamas and the Assad regime in Syria and the Badr brigade in Iraq and the Houthis in Yemen? That's the real question.
هر بلایی که از تو آید رحمتی است، هر که را رنجی دهی اون راحتی است. زن به تاریکی گذاری بنده را تا ببیند اون رخ تابنده.
If, for example, Ayatollah Khamenei dies and the next person who assumes his position will not be able to do the kind of things that he did. This is something that people expect, you know. They expect to see changes occur in the not too distant future.
Of course, death of Ayatollah Khamenei will also be an important opportunity for the leadership to choose one of two paths. One is to tighten their grip on power and to continue business as usual, and to, in effect, bring about their own self-destruction because of their unwillingness to change. And the other is to realize, at the very least, that from 2009 onwards, what we witnessed in Iran wasn't just a political conflict between the Mousavi and Ahmadinejad faction, but a political and cultural seismic shift, an earthquake, a tsunami, really, which reflects the rise of a totally different society and culture in Iran, one in which there is the richest civil society in the Middle East, workers' movements, women's movements, human rights movements, environmental activists, artists, journalists. So this is the reality of Iran. This is the reality of Iran, and it is impossible for the hardliners to continue to rule indefinitely through terror and torture.
On disait qu'à la fin de Khomeini, après le décès de Khomeini, c'est fini. Mais bon, malheureusement, ça fait 25 ans que ça continue. Je ne sais pas. Et surtout dans la conjoncture actuelle, avec ce qui se passe dans les pays limitrophes, avec en Syrie, au Liban, en Irak, même au Liban, le Hezbollah, vous savez, bon, le conflit israélo-palestinien depuis ma jeunesse, vous savez, mais et surtout le point stratégique de l'Iran, qui a quand même une certaine stabilité, un grand pays autour de 80 millions quand même. Vous savez, vraiment, c'est très très difficile de parler de l'avenir et de perspectives. Mais quand même, ce qui est sûr, c'est que le peuple iranien, au moins à 70-75%, est au bout de souffle.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin.
It was famously said about the Holy Roman Empire in European history that it was neither holy nor Roman. it can be said about the Islamic Republic of Iran that it's neither Islamic nor a republic.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر.
During my service in Iran, I heard very interesting proverb, let me say. Once, Ayatollah al-Osma Tabatabai was answered that how many victims we gave during the Islamic regime. His answer is very interesting. He said that we had only one victim. It was Islam itself.